Genetics plays in the sport of bodybuilding.
It's very important. It's hard to determine exactly how important.
Intense training is purposeful behavior aimed at the goal of increasing muscular size and strength.
The intensity factor, the amount of weight they lift, is not so important. They don't have to push themselves quite as hard.
But with my training methods, which stress short, brief, intense workouts,
many athletes tend to overemphasize certain elements of diet like vitamins and protein.
Mentzer and the interview. Back in '91, when Mike Mentzer, the big shot in bodybuilding, stepped into the spotlight on a sports show, you could practically feel the weight of his experience and know-how. I mean, this guy was Mr. America and Mr. Universe rolled into one beefy package. Hosted by Anthony Powell and Bill Schulman, the interview wasn't just another chat, it was a chance for Mentzer to spill the beans on all things bodybuilding. You could tell that Mentzer was in his element. His passion for pumping iron practically oozed out of every word he said, and man did he have a way with words. He broke down complicated stuff like training methods and diet plans with such ease, it was like he was talking about tying shoelaces. What made this interview stand out was Mentzer's credibility. I mean, when a guy like him talks, you listen. He didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk and then some.
Genetics plays in the sport of bodybuilding.
It's very important. It's hard to determine exactly how important. The intensity factor, the amount of weight they lift, is not so important. They don't have to push themselves quite as hard.
Intense training is purposeful behavior aimed at the goal of increasing muscular size and strength.
And it wasn't just about flexing muscles either. It was about sharing insights, pushing boundaries, and taking the sport to a whole new level. For anyone into bodybuilding, this interview was gold. Mentzer wasn't just spouting off generic advice. He was sharing real-deal knowledge from someone who had been there, done that, and had the trophies to prove it. So whether you're a seasoned lifter or just a newbie trying to figure out which end of the dumbbell to hold, Mentzer's interview was a must-watch. It was like getting a crash course in bodybuilding from the master himself, and who wouldn't want a front row seat to that? Genetics and bodybuilding. In the interview, Mentzer really dove into the whole genetics thing in bodybuilding, and let me tell you, he didn't just scratch the surface, he dug deep. You see, Mentzer had this knack for breaking down complicated stuff into bite-sized pieces, and genetics was no exception. He talked about how genetics set the stage for your bodybuilding journey. It's like your genetic code lays out the blueprint, but what you do with it is up to you. Mentzer made it clear that while genetics matter, they don't write the whole story. It's like having a map for a treasure hunt. You still gotta do the digging to find the gold. What I loved about Mentzer's take on genetics is that he wasn't all doom and gloom. He didn't buy into this idea that your genes were the be-all end-all of your bodybuilding dreams. Instead, he pumped you up, told you to roll up your sleeves and get to work. It was like he was saying, yeah, genetics matter, but so does grit, sweat, and determination. And let's not forget about Mentzer's own journey. He had been there, done that, and got the t-shirt, probably a sleeveless one.
In bodybuilding, the indices aren't quite as evident, but things like you mentioned, muscle belly length, bone size.
It is a physiological fact that during exercise, the larger muscles of the body demand more energy than the smaller ones.
And you got to eat properly. I think diet is important because one of the first requisites in being a great athlete is that you're healthy.
His story was living proof that you didn't need a perfect genetic hand to ace this bodybuilding game. Mentzer's ability to turn his own genetic heart into a winning hand was like a beacon of hope for all those aspiring bodybuilders out there. So when Mentzer talked about genetics, he wasn't just talking about DNA strands and double helixes. He was talking about potential, possibility, and the power of sheer determination. And let me tell you, that's the kind of pep talk that could make even the most genetically challenged lifter feel like they could conquer the world one rep at a time. Dietary principles and consequences. Mentzer didn't just talk about pumping iron, he dished out some serious wisdom on what goes into your body too. I'm talking about diet, the fuel that powers those bulging muscles, and let me tell you, Mentzer wasn't about to let anyone get lost in the maze of fad diets and trendy nutrition advice. With the precision of a surgeon and the clarity of a crystal clear stream, Mentzer sliced through all the dietary myths like a hot knife through butter. He wasn't into all that hype about superfoods or magic supplements, no siree. Mentzer preached the gospel of balance and pragmatism when it came to nutrition. But here's the kicker. Mentzer wasn't just talking about what you eat.
Some people, when they start training, grow almost immediately. Then there are other people who train for years and years.
Inherited some pretty good genetics. His father is German and his mother is Italian.
Many athletes tend to overemphasize certain elements of diet like vitamins and protein.
But with my training methods, which stress short, brief, intense workouts.
He was talking about your overall health as well. Yeah, sure, you could chow down on protein shakes and vitamin pills all day, but if you weren't taking care of the basics, like eating your fruits and veggies, you were missing the boat. Mentzer's message was clear. Think for yourself. Don't just swallow whatever the latest fitness guru is selling. Be smart about your food choices and listen to what your body needs. It's like he was handing out a roadmap to nutrition nirvana, guiding listeners away from the pitfalls of dietary dogma and towards a more sensible, sustainable way of eating. In a world where every other day there's a new diet craze or miracle supplement promising to turn you into the Incredible Hulk overnight, Mentzer's no-nonsense approach was like a breath of fresh air. He cut through the noise and gave it to you straight, reminding you that when it comes to fueling your body, common sense is your best friend. Intensity and endurance. Mentzer was all about bringing the heat when it came to training. He didn't just hit the gym, he attacked it with the ferocity of a lion chasing its prey. And let me tell you, his intensity wasn't just a gimmick, it was the real deal. With every word he spoke, Mentzer hammered home the importance of pushing yourself to the limit. None of this half-hearted, halfway there stuff. Mentzer wanted you to give it your all, every single rep, every single set. It was like he was saying, if you want results, you gotta earn them. But here's the thing. Mentzer wasn't just about lifting heavy weights until your muscles screamed for mercy. Nope. He understood that true progress came from finding that sweet spot between intensity and endurance. It wasn't just about going hard, it was about going hard for the long haul.
Two types of basic training. You can train either for muscle mass or endurance, which tends to burn body fat and keep you lean.
I can go to school, get my training in 3 times a week, and still get my studying done.
Again, the most important requirement is that you eat a well-balanced diet just so that you're healthy.
And after seeing this contest tonight, who would dare quibble that this is not an intense competition?
Throughout the interview, Mentzer painted a picture of a training regimen that didn't just build muscle, it built warriors. He talked about how, with the right balance of intensity and endurance, you could sculpt a body that wasn't only strong, but also resilient. It was like he was giving you the keys to the kingdom, showing you how to unlock your full potential as an athlete. Mentzer's philosophy wasn't just about some pie-in-the-sky theory. It was grounded in real-life experience and backed up by solid science. He understood that no two bodies were alike, and that's why he preached the gospel of individualization and adaptation. It wasn't about following some cookie-cutter workout plan. It was about listening to your body and adjusting your training accordingly. So when Mentzer talked about training, he wasn't just talking about lifting weights. He was talking about a way of life, a mindset that demanded nothing less than total commitment and unwavering dedication. And for anyone who listened, it was like a call to arms, a reminder that greatness wasn't just within reach, it was yours for the taking.
Steroids now, they're taking what's called growth hormone, which is not a steroid compound in itself, but does affect the body's rate of growth. They want to compete on a certain level. There are many bodybuilders in the gyms who don't compete and still take steroids. If you want to compete on even the local, national, international, or professional level, without a doubt, steroids are a part of it. But in those who are still competing, I think there's an even greater use and abuse of steroids.
Steroid use in bodybuilding. Steroid use in bodybuilding was like the elephant in the room during Mentzer's interview, and he didn't shy away from tackling it head on. Instead, he dove right in with candor and insight, exploring the murky waters of performance-enhancing drugs with a level of honesty that was refreshing to say the least. Mentzer didn't beat around the bush when it came to steroids. He laid it all out on the table, the good, the bad, and the ugly. He talked about how prevalent steroid use was in the sport, pulling back the curtain on an issue that many would rather sweep under the rug. But Mentzer wasn't interested in sugarcoating the truth. He wanted his listeners to see steroids for what they were, a double-edged sword with the potential for both greatness and destruction. What really set Mentzer apart was his nuanced approach to the topic. He didn't just paint steroids as the devil incarnate. He acknowledged their role in bodybuilding while also shining a light on their potential risks and pitfalls. It was like he was saying, yeah, steroids might give you bigger muscles, but at what cost? But here's the thing, Mentzer wasn't just interested in talking about the here and now.
For those who want to build muscle mass, the most important principle is that of intensity. The harder you train, the more weight you lift, basically following a well-balanced diet. There's always room for a few calories of beer. I think generally there's a movement away from steroid use. I don't think you're going to see much improvement in the standard over the next few years in bodybuilding.
He wanted to spark a conversation about the broader ethical implications of steroid use in sports. He challenged his listeners to think critically about the societal pressures that drive athletes to use performance-enhancing drugs and to consider the consequences of their actions. In the end, Mentzer's discussion of steroids wasn't just about pointing fingers or passing judgment. It was about fostering informed dialogue and responsible decision-making. It was about encouraging his listeners to think for themselves and to consider the bigger picture. And in doing so, Mentzer cemented his legacy as not just a bodybuilding icon, but a voice of reason and wisdom in a world often clouded by controversy and confusion. And that's gonna do it for this video, you guys. See you next time, and bye for now.